Well, a very pleasant good afternoon and welcome to Fortune Hills Country Club, where we are live for the second round of this 10th anniversary playing of the BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup, the 14th event of the season here on the KLPGA Tour. My name is Adam Jenkins, so pleased to have you along with us for another fantastic evening, maybe early into the afternoon, for the KLPGA Tour. This is a big event on the tour docket this season, with 1.4 billion up for grabs this week. We understand exactly what that means for our field and the desire to go on and chase this fantastic title here at Fortune Hills. It is a course that is over 6 kilometers long. It has famously very wide greens, and the iron and wedge play here becomes all the more important to go on and attack and find the pins and be good and close when it comes to how to best influence the score. For the first time this afternoon, we can get on out to the course and take a look at Park Ji-young, who is putting for a birdie, her third shot on the and with little hesitation finds the shot to go up to 4 under. It is 2 back of the lead. Park Ji-young's first birdie of the day. Yunina is our leader. She posted a consecutive round of 69. She is 1 stroke clear of Kim Min-ju and 2 of Ko Unai, Pang Min-ji, Park Do-young, Kim Ji-hyun, Kim So-yoon-tu, Chi Han-so, Park Ji-young, Hung Yoo-min, and last but not least, Chung Se-bin, all 2 back at 4 under. Well, it is 33 degrees today, and the wind remains once again fairly calm. It is currently 3.1 meters per second, again coming out of the west. We were expecting thick clouds and some rain today, but for now it looks as though Mother Nature will be our ally for this second round. Park Hankyung looking for her birdie, but comes just a bit short. It's a huge birdie putt from 7 meters plus. We'll continue the climb up the leaderboard and bring us to our next hole. It is a hole where we find Hung Yoo-min in her search for a par here at 5. Some significant right to left break. Just enough of the line to keep it on track for her birdie. Kim Soo-ji, she is closer to the water than the hole, 30 meters out at 7. And she is going to play a lofted shot up. Hoping to get it started online and let gravity do the rest of the work. It's about 4 meters shy when it comes to rest.
어.
그냥 홀컵에서는 좀 펴지지 않나요?
홀컵에서 뭐?
펴지죠.
약간 펴져.
전 상컵.
나는 단컵 좀 타이트.
I'll flashback to the last putt, and what a putt it was. Hankyung from about 7 meters away. She can coast into the next hole and onto the next tee block, feeling a big wave of confidence rush over her.
일단 초입이 얼마?
Park Ji-young, the final preparations. A 5-iron off the tee here at 6. She floats that to about the center of the green, will land and roll to the back fringe, get a little bit of help as it curls back in.
Good.
Hankyung is next. Well, we've seen that a slightly shallower approach can be better. Now, the fine margins of that situation described is landing on the green and letting the momentum set up a birdie. Tee shots have been played with various levels of success. And the walk down begins from the teeing ground to the green. Let's, in the meantime, head on over to hole number 7. This is Kim Soo-ji. She is looking for a par. This will have some right to left break. Speed-wise, she's just about perfect, but she'll need that extra little nudge to get it the rest of the way. Kimin Sun 7, she's at +4. This will bring her to within 3 of even par with a make, but she's pushed it and it goes long. Well, it is an absolutely beautiful Friday evening here in Pocheon-si for the second round of the BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup. Our leaders at 6 under par, with Kim Min-ju closely behind her at 5 under, a 70 in the second round. Ko Nai also with a 3 under 69 on this Friday, the same score as Kim Ji-hyun, all on the first page of the leaderboard. Our projected cut currently is at +2, where 71 players at the moment have punched their ticket to this weekend's final rounds. Stay with us, we'll have more from Fortune Hills after the break. First shot from the fringe belongs to Hung Yoo-min, and because she doesn't bring it all the way towards the target, she'll roll closer back to the front fringe. As the ball finally comes to a rest, she can mark it off, and we can head to the par 4. Over the water and in search of the island green. Chanye Song will be our next candidate to play her approach. 132 from the rough. Has an 8-meter drop to the pin. Pin today, well, it is in the back corner, closer to the right. Well, that's where she tries to attack. Didn't quite have the loft to get it on the green, and stopping there. Well, this is more than just close. This is right on the money. Hankyung has her first birdie of the round. It comes here at hole number 6. She goes to 2 under. And back with Kim Soo-ji in her search for a birdie at number 8. She is very much up the hill, so it's just a little tap to get it started. Leave herself with 1.5 meters, 2 to finish off this hole. Next up, well, it was obviously Park Ji-young at the last. This is Kim Soo-ji at 8. And attacks it almost to perfection. Especially with that breeze at her back, she makes the appropriate adjustments as a makeable putt for birdie. Up Kim In-sun 7 at +4. She has a bit of work to do to try and make the cut. That's her biggest priority. 58-degree wedge. Similar depth where she lands it, and the backspin helps her stay nice and close. Tee shot at 3. This is going to work its way inside of 1 meter and be nothing more than a tap in on the par 4, excuse me, over the water onto the island green into a great position. Hankyung at 6, trying to stay at 4 under, which is most certainly a brilliant spot to be, only 2 strokes back. But this is the par putt. She started it to the outside, and it never came back online. Now Park Ji-young, she has, well, we can call it 5 feet for par. Steps out, she wasn't sure of the line.
다음번은 저기 딱 하면은 내려갈 거라 생각했어요.
안 맞는데. 이게 첫 딱 쳤는데 스피드가
첫 스피드가
우리 생각한 거
생각한 거는 미끌려서 내려가야 되는데 하나도 안 미끌려서 그냥
Just about 2 for 2. It's going to need that second shot and no more than a tap in, but a birdie denial. Final checks from Hankyung, ensuring there's no one in the fairway or no one marching up the cart path. She is 2 under through 24 holes of play. She'll definitely want, yet also have time for a second round push. Even 4 under she'd be quite happy with. It's an excellent drive. She gets the kick back down the middle. This is certainly a precarious position for Chen Yei-sung, just off of the bridge over the creek. Has to play basically a bump and run and sends it to the hillside rough. She avoids the penalty but sacrifices a strike. Putt for birdie isn't quite online. Park Ji-young is the next to drive here at the par 4 7th. Birdied here yesterday. That will give her some confidence as she stands over the tee. And she'll stay just and only just in the fairway at the edge of it. Last but certainly not least, with a well-struck start. We're 3 for 3 into the fairway, though that one is admittedly the furthest from the pin off the wood of Hankyung. Well, Chen Yei-sung, this has been a hole to forget. This is a putt for double bogey. Little left to right, and she goes down to even par. And that is the score with 11 holes to play in the second round. Punished for a poor tee shot. And now must suffer the consequences of that. Young, meanwhile, with this putt, she can join her groupmate at that even par score. Good approach, a good birdie, and will feel like something of a clean slate heading to number 8. Well, Yunina is our leader after consecutive rounds of 69. She has a 1-stroke advantage over Kim Min-ju. And from there, well, there is a peloton of players, 9 of them, in fact, tied for third at 4 under, led by Ko Unai. We'll be back with more for the BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup. Welcome back. We are live on 7. Hankyung with nothing more than a pitching wedge from the end of the fairway, looking down towards the green. She needs to get to the back right. Line starts well. Does not have the dig or the bite she needs to stay in that section of the green. Shot leaving a bit to be desired. This brings us to Hankyung. .106 for Hankyung, the third and final to approach. And she is easily going to end up with the best of the lot. Not quite pin high, but rides that breeze at her back. Bring that ball into a birdieable position. Good wedge play with the backspin to keep her within 5 or 6 meters, and we can head over next to Kim Min-byul, who is searching for her birdie. We'll bring her back to even. It will be an 18-meter putt for birdie. She's not risking missing the cut just yet, but she is a fairway off the hunt for the win. Chen Yu-sung was not the only player to find herself in this position. It's a putt from the AstroTurf right on the border of the cement-laden bridge for Hankyung. She spent a little bit of extra time preparing for this shot. And here is her attempt from the bridge. Well, she just about holed out from there, so I can't imagine she'll have many, if any, reservations about that shot. Let's see it again. It should have been, well, let's get this on the green and hope for the best. Well, the best was pretty darn good. Shows you a player who's been at this sport for some time. And as soon as that ball is put into the hole, which it's been done, I have a feeling that that golf ball will be retired for the duration of the day. From the opposite side of the green, it's 2 or 3 feet past it from Hankyung. Kim In-sun 7. We are very fascinated in her quest to try and make the cut. Chip from the fringe sees her lip out and bounce out on the other side of the flag. Hankyung stymied and mystified. Ends up being 2 putts for her and no impact to the score. Similar situation, Chun Ye-sung with a 2-putt par of her own. Kim Soo-ji at 9, she's going to putt from the fringe. It's a symphony of par putts. You mean the most recent to secure it and make her way to the 8th tee. Kim In-biel, meanwhile, trying to avoid a bogey, which would see her drop perilously close to the cut line. And as she's gone missed, she certainly has to worry about that for the rest of the round until she builds a bit of breathing room. One more bogey, and as it stands, she would not be joining us this weekend. To number 8 on the Garden course, it is a 271-meter par 4. It is certainly the shortest of its kind here at Fortune Hills. And the description of the hole, well, we can see fairly obviously why you do not want to be left or right of the fairway. And as it tapers to a narrow position, we have the creek and then 3 bunkers to contend with. The pin placement today is 11 yards off the front and 11 yards from the side, which absolutely brings those 2 changes of elevation into play.
네. 감사합니다. 이제 물소리도 치는 거 보냐?
이걸 이걸로 바꾸고.
Tee shot into the fairway, only just Hankyung narrowly avoids the rough.
날씨 좋은데? 안 더운데?
Decent effort from the fairway on down to the green. Down onto the green she goes, pin seeking she will do next. We have similar conditions to what we faced yesterday here in Pochunchi, with a more than comfortable temperature at 33 degrees and mostly sunny skies with the odd cloud breaks. You mean at 8. Approaching down towards the green, and she is in an excellent position just off the front fringe. Very workable putt for birdie. And at 9, here is the up few different kicks and finally settling onto the green for Chun Yu Sung. And Hankyung, look at this. Backspin comes in at the end. She'll have a tap-in birdie. It's an excellently worked approach shot. Hankyung, it's an important putt. Brings her to even after 10 holes of action, her second birdie of the day. Shot a 72 in the first round and is on pace for the same today. No such success as that putt has gone by the wayside. And we can take a moment to refresh the scoreboard. It looks as such. Yunina, a one-stroke advantage still over Kim Min-ju. Kone, Pang Min-ji, Park Do-yeon, Kim Ji-hyun, Kim So-yoon, Chi Han-sol, Kang Chae-yeon, Park Ji-young, Chung Se-bin, An Sung-yi. A long way to say there were 10 players tied for third position here at this BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup. We'll take a quick break and resume shortly to the Fortune Hills Country Club. And welcome back. We've rejoined Jiyoung on the 8th hole looking for a birdie after more than just a decent tee shot. It leaves a little bit to be desired with that putter, and we'll have to settle for a par. So shortchanged. So no birdies to be found as of yet. Hankyung, she's the next to search for that bird, and 4 under would be a very good score, tied for 3rd if she can get there. 4.5 meters. She'll run the fine line, the right to left break, but be a bit short. Birdie comes, and it belongs to Hankyung, who's second in the last 3 holes. She goes tied for 13th at 3 under par. Kim Byul at 10. After failing to make her birdie at the last, it's another really good approach. Simple tap in finish. And we can head to the next Park Jiyoung. Beginning of the 9th and final hole here on the Garden Course, 366 meters. Hankyung, she is in a really nice run of form, narrowing in on the top 3. Also at 3 under. Our start to the final hole, the front 9. Kiminbyul 2.5 meters. Looking to get to just one stroke away from even, right to left up the hill, but sent with too much speed. She will have to settle for a par. This event, just like every other on the KLPGA Tour, counts for the race to the WeMix Championship. 20 million Korean won for the tour winner by the end of the season. Each and every tournament sees you score points based on your final classification. The top 10 finishers get an additional bonus, and there is a 1.2 time bonus for major champions, just as No Sung-yi learned last week, as she has been able to skyrocket to number 2 on the table, up 6 positions, trailing just EA1. Hung Yoo-min, Park Young-young, and Park Ji-young are 3rd through 5th in the table. The approach shot on down. Park Young-young isn't quite able to reach the green. This is Park Ji-young from the fairway at 9, almost 100 meters. She's playing the pitching wedge. Again, trying to be front left, and more than succeeding in that quest. A birdie putt she could make with her eyes closed. That's what's coming up next for her. Great shot. Similar for Hung Yoo-min, 97 meters, about the same club. Quite as pinpoint precise, and we'll roll back onto the fringe. That concludes our first hour of coverage at the BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup. Yoonina's 6 under remains the score to beat in this second round Saturday. Welcome back. Hour 2 begins from the fringe, where we find Hankyung with a putt for a birdie. She is currently tied for 12th at 3 under. And you can even see Park Ji-young gesturing for that ball to pick up some speed. But it does come up a little short. Park Ji-young, she'll have little more than a tap in for a par.
내리막 거의 없다고 없는 거 같아.
내리막 스타트만.
내리막 있어 보이세요?
아니,
Well, it is a lengthy quest and one
거의 평지로 가야 돼.
that is full of pitfalls and bumps in the road for Kim Min-byul. Park Ji-young, just before the turn, finds her second birdie. She is one back with half a round to play. And Kim Soo-ji, as she works her way closer to an even par score, her putt for birdie at 11 has narrowly gone missed. It can simultaneously be a nice par and also frustrating for Kim Soo-ji, who came so close to her major championship push last week. A gentle breeze and an arrival onto the green that was 2 or 3 feet past the pin. She's pushed onto the fringe. Ji-young at even, beginning her back 9. Sends herself into a decent little spot on the green here early on the Palace course. necessarily a tee shot to write home about, but the recovery seems fairly good. She's dropped to +2. Wind stays on the right side of the cut line for now with that par. And a moment or two to reflect on the latest round on the Jump Tour.
빛을 잃어가는 마음과 달리 채워지는 도시의 별은 하나둘씩 늘어가고 자리 찾아가는 상습을 벗어나고만 싶어.
사실 우승 욕심보다는 내가 잘해서 상금 랭킹 1위로 정예원으로 승격됐으면 좋겠다라고 생각했었는데 또 그러다 보면 또 몸에 힘이 들어가고 또 샷이 흔들릴 수 있을 것 같아서 아무런 생각을 안 했는데 막상 되고 나니까 엄청 뿌듯하고 기쁜 것 같아요. 가족들이 제일 많이 생각나고요. 아버지가 프로신데 저번 주 우승하고 또 저보다 더 많이 기뻐해 주셨어요. 아빠 사랑해요. 여기에서 멈추지 않고 더 노력하면서 더 좋은 성적으로 열심히 꾸준한 플레이를 펼칠 수 있는 그런 선수가 되도록 노력하겠습니다.
Glance at the stars of tomorrow and the current stars of this BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup. Yunina, our leader at 6 under. Here we go with Chen Ye Sung from the fringe at 10. Weight-wise, it was perfect. Slightly misaligned to the right, and she'll have a tap-in par.
야!
Yumin begins and is trying to keep herself on the straight and narrow. A little electrolyte charge for the back nine.
가자.
And to the par 3 next, and there are plenty of them on this back 9. The first approach, or tee shot, depending on how you want to look at it, ends up in about the center of the green. And from the teeing ground to the left side of the fairway as it lifts and dips and winds from right to left. Down onto the green and a nice pack to cool her off after a tee shot to set up a birdie. Pak Jeong, her second at the par 5 10th, 285. Just trying to take a good chunk out of it.
상관없어. 핀 완전 뒤야.
Well, she narrowly escapes both a brilliant moment and a treacherous moment as getting on the back side of the cup, Kim Young sends her ricocheting off towards the back of the green. next to play the approach, navigating the breeze at her back to give Hankyung a push. It's a decent little shot with the wedge.
이쪽에서 약간 내려오는 느낌이라.
내리막 보여요?
내려면 안 닿아.
완전 보이지?
응.
And a right to left breaking putt up the hill, and it's just going to stop short. She's going to take as long of a walk around as is possible to give that ball another option, another moment to roll on in, but has to settle for the par. She did everything right, just got a bit unlucky. Onto the green, out from the rough. And it was not a tournament to write home about at the Korea Women's Open Golf Championship for her last week. She'd love a bounce back. Here goes the next putt for birdie. A similar end result as everyone is being off by decimals. And pars are becoming the consistent score. We've been waiting for one of these putts. And it comes from Kim In-byul. Her fourth birdie of the day. Unfortunately for her, she has 4 bogeys as well, so she's brought back to even, and we'll be hoping to build a little positive momentum. Yumina 2-putt par. Just left herself with a little bit too much work to do after the approach shot. Now Park Ji-young at 10, 6.5 meters downhill. Well, she's trying to be mindful of the slope and the speed. Ends up being a bit too conservative.
오케이.
One for one after the tee shot from the blocks to the fairway with little drama.
근데 그거나 그거 오른쪽이야. 나이스 버디.
And this is extraordinary. Park Hankyung moves to 4 under with her third birdie of the day. She was quiet yesterday, but is really turning it on here in the second round. To the right of center. And the next hole begins. Taking a look at the hole here, number 11. The second of the Palace course. It is a par 3 and 171 meters with a pin today in round number 2. Very close to the left side. In fact, it is just 16 yards from the back of the green, but 6 yards from the left fringe. Very steep downhill slope to begin as well.
감독님 저희 플레이할게요. 잠시만요.
Not much wrong with that putt, but also a bit to be desired for Park Hankyung. It is definitely a birdieable hole. We have seen 11 in this second round.
풀로 빠져나간다고.
Next is Park Ji-young with a 2/3 swing. She's in between clubs. We'll ride that all the way down to the fringe. You mean the next to tee off on the par 3, the first of 3 in this back 9. Finds herself in the center of the green. Not an easy putt for birdie, but not an impossible one either. No changes to the top, but we do see Pak Ji-young and her 35 on the way out, challenging for the lead through 10. One back of Yunina's score of 6 under par here at Fortune Hills.
이만큼만? 여기다 좀 더 3cm? 살짝 내려와.
here we are with Hankyung in her search for a birdie. Comes up a foot or two short and will settle for a par. Well, pin high to the absolute nth degree. Kim Soo-ji with a stunning approach shot. Putt from the fringe, too much to ask of Park Ji-young. Not quite pin high, but a well-judged approach nevertheless. Hankyung continues to work her way across the course confidently, and the play is there to match. Let's go to 12. Chun Ye-sung, 9.5 meters, a lengthy putt for birdie. Just be a little bit short.
나이스 파!
Park Ji-young saves the par at 11. It is the par 4 12th next for this group. On to 13, Kim Min-sun 7. She needs a birdie. She needs a few of them to safely get on the north side of the cut line. Kim Soo-ji a chance to get to even. Struck too firmly, lips around it, bounces back out the other side. Hankyung on the tee. We are here at 12. First of only 3 par 4s on the back 9.
아니 근데 이거 핀으로 안 가고 핀 살짝 왼쪽으로 갖다 놓는다 생각을 하면 맞아. 무조건 맞아.
근데 만약 핀으로
갔을 때는 반 맞아. 짧긴 캐리는 짧아. 런이 있으면 딱 언덕 위에 걸릴 거고 런이 없으면 언덕 전에 딱 가. 그래도 그게 맞아.
Well, an up and down round. Kim Min-byul is just struggling to find consistent pars, let alone challenge for birdies. Her tee shot at the par 3 finds the rough.
피하고 중계탑 중간 정도 사이 정도.
Kim Soo-ji is next with a wide open green. She goes pin hunting but can't get it down in time.
괜찮아. 안 때릴게. 중계탑 습관이가 아무래도 그 스타트 있어. 굿샷.
Trying to be conservative, but Hankyung comes short of the green.
탑팔 피칭 두개 다.
정색.
이거 다 타야 될 것 같아.
그렇지. 뒤에가 여기 있어. 앞에 있어. 이렇게 살짝 가지고.
네.
이쪽 됐어.
Well, it is an even 100 for Park Ji-young as she approaches the ball in the rough. Bounces twice just on the front of the green. Will have a slight downhill putt towards the front, separating her from a birdie. Lee Jae-young, she is at 1 under after 12. Her approach at 13 is a decent one.
이쪽 부분은 맞는데.
Just plodding along the first few holes of the back nine. The Palace course here at Fortune Hills. Yunina's lead is safe for now, though Kang Chae-eun, also joins Park Ji-young one back in the late stages of her back nine. More from the BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup after a quick break.
아니, 손 들어서 안 들어갔어.
손 들었어?
어. 손 들었어. 어떡해.
좀 빨려.
들지 말았어야지. 아니, 손 들어서 안 들어갔어.
아니 넘어가.
Nearing hour number 3 of our coverage of this second round of the BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup. We are firmly entrenched in the middle of the back nine for our featured groups as the 132 players in the field jockey for positions, try to find themselves inside of the cut line in hopes of a pretty good payday on Sunday.
그래서 그냥 오르막이라고 생각하면 돼.
You mean a 12. It's a 7-meter putt for birdie as she tries to go within 2. Keeps herself, though, half the distance away from the lead. Kim Soo-ji, meanwhile, at 14, looking for even, but the break is left to right. She needed the inverse. Settle for a par, no impact to the score. Young, she is just going to be one roll short of her birdie. Young for 2 under, but we remain in a dry spell. There's nowhere but up, but the birdies remain at a premium. She loops it around almost the full 360 degrees, and Kim Min-byul can breathe a bit of an exhale as she has a bit more breathing room between her and the cut line, which is still at this point in the day +2. Into the par 3 14th, 156 the yardage, and the first tee shot is sublime. A whole lot more than a 4-footer for birdie. Going in on the par 5, she's going to use the hybrid when this hole started. Coming down from the sky as our featured group makes its way down the cart path, saddling the green on a stunning Friday afternoon in Pocheon-si. Jaeyoung with the 7-iron at 14, the next tee shot. Just 5 holes to play, and it is a lovely one. Kim Soo-ji with her second at 15. It's 126 away. Pin placement today all the way at the back. It's a bit extra club. Revealed to see she is quite the long way off. Hankyung, second dead center of the fairway. Finds the right side of it where she'll play her third. follows suit, also down into the fairway. Shortchanged a little bit by Park Ji-young. Her lie wasn't ideal, but the execution is the part that lets her down. And a 15, Kim Min-byul. She has one stroke of wiggle room with which to work, now at +1. Backspin on her approach brings her back towards the center. No complaints with that whatsoever. She has the closest look at a birdie when, of course, she reaches the green. Let's go to 14. Lee Jae-young looking to move to 2 under. Be a tie for 25th position, left to right, and just hangs on long enough. 4 on the day for her. The only misstep, the bogey at 3.
저도 어제 갈랐는데 여기까지밖에 열심히 하고 있거든요.
Calm wind and a long wide green. Park Ji-young stays in the first quarter. Be an easy putt for a birdie, but a makeable one. Slowly and methodically, Cheonu going about her business. It's just birdie number 2 today, one that has seen a few more bogeys than she would have hoped for.
좋아 가야 돼.
Mean up and onto the green. It's a long way over from just inside of the fringe. Kim Soo-ji will have that tap in for par. And Kim Min-byul, she finally got clear of the cut line, but the even par score continues to elude her. Well, with the approach shots, the nature of the putts for birdie were always line on the outside looking in. And this is just about perfection. But too much break at the bitter end and nothing to show for it. You mean can move into a share of fifth with the make here. This putt that begins on the border of the fringe will wind its way on down. And there comes the break. At least so she hoped. She'll have to settle for par. It's been a day that has not allowed much celebration on the greens. We saw the ice bag last week. She's clearly trying to persevere through some kind of minor ailment to that shoulder. And Hankyung, that would have moved her within one.
나이스 파. 오케이.
Settled for a par.
이제
Let's go to 15. Chunye Sung, her second from the fairway. Another hole where she wants to reach the back of the green. She uses the 7-iron and leaves herself with just 3 or 4 short feet between herself and a birdie.
나이스 파. 감사합니다.
On a stunning Friday evening in the mid-30s with hardly a cloud in the sky. The second round of the BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup is in full swing. On to 14 with Park Young. Just right of center of the pin here on day 2. It's precisely the portion of the green she attacked and did so fairly well.
지금 모델이 공방이 났어요. 되게 수율이 좀 더 베이스고
Park Jung the next to tee off. situation where she's slightly in between clubs and has to choke up on the wedge and also rue the fact that she has missed right. Hankyung, pensive look as she stares down this tee shot. Be the best of the three. See if she's able to cash in on it and find a low score. Trying to surge up the leaderboard, currently 3 strokes back of the top. Kim Min-sun's 7, she is in a battle to make the cut. Tee shots like that will help, but the birdies have to start coming. She's running out of time. Jaeyoung for birdie. This is 15, the par 4. Sneaks that inside of her groupmate's ball marker, but won't have anything to impact the score. EA1, No Sung-hee, Hang Yoo-min, Park Yang-young, and Park Ji-young, the top 5 in the race to the WeMix Championship. She'll see that one in her nightmares, unfortunately. Really good opportunity, but ends up staying stagnant for one more hole. Was always a difficult second shot for Park Ji-young, completely disguised down the hill. Gets it up, but not onto the green.
지나가 내려가는데 이거 좀 많이 보이잖아? 이 정도는 아니야, 한 번이야, 한 번. 올라가는 거 살짝 하지.
Hankyung with some nasty snap on that putt for birdie. Plenty of break, too much to manage. All of a sudden, a putt for par for Pak Jiang. She is one of just 3 players, 1 stroke back, but that's in jeopardy here. Seemed like the most plausible outcome, but it doesn't make it any less disappointing. Left it a little bit short and will be saddled with at least a bogey.
많이 없어 보여.
Bill can walk off with her par. And we can head back to the 14th with Hung Min, looking to positively impact the score. Move into a tie for 5th, 2 back. From our perspective, plenty of left to right break. For her, it will be the inverse. Gonna start this about 3 feet to the outside and hope it works its way back in. Here it comes. Oh, it's an excellent read and a marvelous putt. And a well-worked birdie for Hung Min. Her first since hole number 4. She goes to 4 under and has just the 4 holes to play. In most circumstances for Pak Jiang here, this would be not the most pressure-packed putt or the most at stake. But she knows it's a putt for bogey and wants to ensure it is only 1. She's going to take the extra minute to make sure she has herself all aligned. The satisfying rattle of a job well done. It was the trip to get to the green that caused her to lose the stroke. Similar right to left action. And into the bottom of the cup for Hankyung.
맨날 먹는 거 맛있어 보였거든.
나도 좀 줘라. 힘들지.
이거 근데 프로틴이야.
혹시 왜 안에 비타민도 들어가 있어?
의미 없어. 나 비타민 하루에 2개씩 먹어.
전에 저거 필코 에펙?
약간 가끔
너무 한국이야.
이게
나는
뭐
잘 안 해.
우유 같은 거 타먹으면 더 맛있는데.
아니, 그물 타먹어야 돼. 그게 약간 선을 보고 타야지.
뭐 까르쳐 내가.
Not the most eventful, but an important putt nevertheless. Score secured, and she moves on to the next, just as Hung Yumin and company have done, arriving at the 15th tee. Tee shots away. 16 is where we will investigate next. Steve Jae-young on the tee. He's gonna get a nice slip down through the middle. Quite pin high, but a decent shot nevertheless. Each of the three in our featured group are away. And we'll march down to the 15th fairway. 4 holes to go for this group at 4:46 p.m. local time. Yunina's lead remains safe for now. An Song-yi, she is up into the push, one back through 10, and Kang Cheon also at a 5 under with just 1 hole to play. Welcome back. After the approach from Hankyung, we see Kim and Biel go to the corner of the green, and meanwhile, Hankyung from the rough prepares her approach, skips it in. A long way from her target, though. Young at 16, left to right the break starts and carries on through all the way. Kim Soo-ji drops it in. Just about every member of this group will have their work cut out for themselves in the putts for birdie. Kim Soo-ji at 17, she still has that one stroke with which to work, but the closer she gets to the end, the closer the +2 will loom as the most important thing. 69 players are nicely ahead of it at the moment, and she will remain one of the 70 and beyond. Opposite side looking up with just a couple of holes to go. And at 15, it's a long winding road back towards the pin. First shot from Park Ji-young is a bit far out still. Kim In-sun 7 at 17. Right to left, the break is on this putt. Just loses its speed towards the end. From the back right corner of the green to the pin and short. Bill, she will start this towards the fringe and immediately starts to break to the middle of the green. She stood up pretty quickly, which is generally not the best of signs. Park Jiang trying to stay 2 back. She's already conceded 1 in this middle stretch of the back 9. Here it comes on its way. Excellent putt. Well, she's still in search of her first birdie since number 9, but avoids a second bogey on the back. And Park Hankyung, 4 birdies now on the day. She is just 1 stroke back of the lead with 3 to play. She has to pop that ball in her pocket. Disappointed in the lack of change to the score. And now Hankyung trying to stay at 4 under. And she's done so. Young, center of the fairway, her second shot at 17, 144 out. Pin is in the middle right corner of the screen, and she's off the back. And the approach from the fairway reaches the green with about 10 meters to go. The last on the approach, and the furthest from the pin. Hankyung at 16, 3 to go now. A par 3, a par 4, and a par 5. It's a 6-iron to get it started. She ends up well off the green into the rough. You mean she's first to tee off at 16? And just clearing the fringe, it's a long way off. And she'll have to put. Hankyung is the next tee shot. She has found herself very close to the extreme right of the steam ground. Wind picking up. See how she fares. Left side of the green is ideal. On the green, of course, is the baseline that these players would like to reach. Young at 17 into the wind from off the green, a long way over. Got herself at just 2 or 3 feet with the putter. certainly picking up. It is directly at the back of Chen Sung. She looks to find even par with this putt. Here it comes on down. Break starts a touch too early. Just a simple tap in back up the hill for her par. Back to 16. Hankyung again lifting this up from the rough. Wants it to dig in. Come to a stop in the resodded section of the green. Jaeyoung just to save a par, a little left to right tap. She is playing a battle of attrition with herself at the moment. And now Park Ji-young rolling it in from the fringe.
여기 넘어 돌아와서 하는 게 낫지.
네.
넘어갈 때 안에 커버 크지.
Well, Hung Yu-min, she is just on the green, but a long way away here at 16. Brings herself into a 3-meter distance, what will become a putt for par. Suji at 18, +3. She needs a birdie to guarantee her safety above the cut line. She is hovering around, missing out at this point. Couldn't have asked for a much better kick than that. Picking up plenty of speed and settling in the center of the fairway. Hankyung 5.7 the meters for a par, but she shortchanged it. She had been bogey free up to this point. So she'll have to resign herself to the bogey, and now King Sun 7. Some of the final shots of her tournament, +5 even with a birdie, means she is out of the contention picture heading into the weekend. Back to 16. What do you mean, right to left, uphill, looking for par? Immediate break. Great read. Marvelous execution. Saves that par. 2 to go now.
이렇게 돼 있으니?
그래? 많이는 없지.
네, 오른쪽 반대로.
그치. 일단 거기서는 승지?
오르막.
응. 좋아. 깜깜해하고 조심.
Well, after much contemplation, it is 2 bogeys in the last 3 holes and her 3rd of the day. Jaeyoung, her 2nd shot on the par 5, 18th from the fairway, down left towards the cart path. Kim Soo-ji must have this birdie. Starts it a little to the inside and stays that way until she's level with the hole, and then the break brings her away. So she needs a good chunk of the remaining players on course at that +2 score to drop strokes. At the moment, 68 players at +2 or better is around that 66 number where we often cut the fields. So it's out of her hands now. 39 on the way out and coming back in. for a 78 in round 2. Well, not so much a bounce back for Hankyung, but stopping the slide. That's an excellent putt and a rightful celebration. Kim Min-sun 7, a birdie, her only one of the day, to come in with a 36. She will likely also not be joining us for the weekend, but ending on high.
난 넥스트이라고 봐. 오르막이라 세게 들어가는데 바깥까지는 나는 힘들어. 어찌됐든 오르막이라서 스타트 하는 게 반대. 홀 뒤에서 많이.
Kim Min-byul. This is a gargantuan putt for par. Pushed it left to right, gone, missed. She too will join Kim Soo-ji in the perilous position of just needing to watch, wait, and hope. It's 131 from the fairway for Park Ji-young on 17. Reminder, she wants to stay right. A little bit of a breeze at her back, but the fringe actually absorbs a bulk of the speed. Next up, Park Hankyung. And this is right on the money. In fact, it's less than a meter away from absolute and utter perfection. So if she had a wobble at the last, a big response for a birdie. That leaves Hankyung Min on 17, 123 and a pitching wedge. Second closest to the pin, Park Hankyung has the tap in, and the other two will have their work cut out for them. Shots on 18 continue. The most recent from Chen Yi Sung as she finds herself tied for 49th and would like to get back to even. Has to set herself up. AJ Young's approach. For that little extra boost. We'll come up, well, we'll call it 8 meters away. Back to 17, Bak Jiang with the wind very much at her back. 10 meters, just about. Starting this towards the fringe. Dives in a little bit early. Let's begin on 17. Hankyung Min, the first to look for a birdie. If she makes this, she's within one and also level with Hankyung. Starts the dip down and runs out of speed. Formidable first attempt, but will require a second punt. The end of the round. Chen Sung, 37 on the way out, and in the 74, she finishes the day tied for 49th at +1. Two putts, she's finished. 18 is next. 18 is where we return. AJ Young for a birdie. There's a reason why we haven't seen many of these at 18. It's a tough pin placement today at the back. Four birdies, one bogey. A brilliant day all in. A 69 shot and secured for a good climb up the leaderboard. With her par, and 18 is coming up next. The last there at the moment. JNU. She's going to end up at +5. JNU, 2 birdies, 4 bogeys, and a double bogey on the day. Her tournament comes to an end with a +5 aggregate score through 36 holes. Hankyung. The confirmation now of 5 under. It's an excellent spot nearing the midway mark of the tournament. Reach 18, we've seen it on several occasions, but let's give you the aerial overview. It is a par 5, it is a fairly complicated hole. The handicap here is 7. Dogleg to the right, back in towards the clubhouse with 2 pot bunkers in the middle of the fairway, another stretch of sand on the right side of the fairway, and then just before the green, pin placement 8 yards from the back and 8 yards from the left. These second shots generally are leaving 50 meters on average. reach the final hole. It begins with a little bit of drama. Hankyung gone left up the hillside.
약간 라이트 방향으로 들어가는 거야.
여기 향나무 숲 같아. 이 향나무까지 가나? 왜? 어? 하얀 거 하나 뒷사람 하니까 치고 가고 싶어. 안 나왔다는 얘기지?
Hankyung also looking like she has some issues with the driver to the right, though, this time. She's just going to actually hang into the fairway despite losing her top hand on the follow-through. Looking a little indecisive.
우리 좀 일단 빠르게 할게요. 네. 빠르게 일단 가요. 더 찾아보고.
Well, our featured group has reached the 18th hole. The tee shots have been made, and the second shots and approaches are next in the second round here of the BC Card Hankyung Ladies Cup. We are live on a Friday night at Fortune Hills Country Club in Pocheon-si.
거리가 넘어갈 수도 있겠다.
거리가 넘어갈 수도 있어.
남 넘는 거리다 방향을 주는 거. 우리가 가지고. 하나 넘어갈 거리야. 우리가
자, 돌아가겠습니다. 자, 다른 선수들 먼저 준비해주세요.
5:31 p.m. local time in Pocheon-shi. The search for Hankyung's ball is fairly short-lived. She's gone into the bank and has dug out a brand new.
자, 다른 선수들 먼저 플레이 좀 해주세요.
있어요?
지금 3분 지났기 때문에 안 돼요. 아니요, 있어도 지금 3분이 지났어요. 자, 하세요. 이거 패스 좀 비켜주셔야 되는데.
Back to the team.
가져와. 섞어 보니까.
To restart
백은
the
두고
hole.
가져갈 거예요. 이거 뒤에 좀
Best course of action is, and caddy and athlete alike are loaded up into the carts, and I do believe we're going to head back to the top. It's a significant blow for Hankyung, who was just 2 strokes off the lead before her misadventures began. Congestion on the cart path. Meanwhile, for Hankyung and Park Ji-young, it's a much less eventful start to the hole, and they'll be able to play their second while Hankyung heads back up to the top. And her second isn't quite going to reach the green, but it is darn close. Park Ji-young and Park Hankyung have made their second shots. We're back where we started with Hankyung. This will be her third shot. Much better the second time round. So while we await Hankyung's return to the fairway, See down on the horizon. Pak Yang getting closer to the green. We can take a brief detour to head back a few holes and watch the tee shot for Cho Yun, who is currently tied for 23rd. This is on 14. She's gonna skip off the top of the mound, defending the green, and not be able to stay on it.
그냥 똑같이 10시야. 응. 가까이 봐라.
Hankyung second. And what should be her second is really her fourth. She knows she has to be fault-free the rest of the way. So a little bit left. Settles in the rough. Just basically at the end of the fairway, but up and down for bogey, and she was still in a comfortable position heading into the weekend.
바로 응.
Hankyung, the approach into the wind, right at the pin. Helped by the breeze at her back. It goes towards the end of the green. .56 meters for Hankyung. She digs in. She has had an unbelievable day with her approach game. If she can make that birdie, she'll be sharing the lead with you. Now let's take a look at it again. Last preparations for returning to the rough. Where should I land? Where will the putt break? Or where will the ball break, rather? .40 meters is the distance left for Hankyung. Has to stick it close.
안 먹을 것 같아. 이런 거 이렇게 드셔야 돼. 육수가 써있잖아.
The hard part is done. She knows she's dropping, and now it's all about converting on the bogey putt now.
거기서 나면 수비 조금 더 꺾이는 그 느낌을 꺾이게 된다. 그러니까.
Park Ji-young, 3 under, can go to a tie for 5th with a birdie make, and that's exactly what she's done. An excellent way to end the day. Her 3rd birdie. It's an even par round, exactly where she was to begin. Very much in the hunt at the midway mark of the tournament. Look at it again from this perspective, showing a slight up and then downhill roll. Before Hankyung can go. And left to right breaking putts. That is a brilliant way to minimize the damage from a tee shot that found the out of bound range. 2 birdies on the front, 1 on the back, a bogey on each. She finishes the day with a 141 aggregate score. For those who prefer easier math, that is tied for 12th at 3 under.
가운데 오른쪽.
She can join Yunina and now An Song-yi as the leaders with a birdie make here. Another right to left breaking putt, and she too has it absolutely dialed in. It was a seemingly innocuous 71 to start the tournament, but today 34 on the way out, 33 on the way in with just the one bogey. Otherwise, she would have been 6 under and the sole leader, but she'll happily take a 5 under par, a co-leader at the midway mark of this event. Well, we just have barely enough time to go through the highlights of the round before signing off for the day. Take you through the best shots that we witnessed today. Hung Ji, she played earlier today as a part of the morning groups, and as the two-time defending champion, she of course was motivated to have a much better day than she had done yesterday. That was her third birdie at 7, which was hole 16. If you do the quick maths, she would go on to finish in a tie for 5th position. Meanwhile, has her first birdie at 5 after an early drop at 3. Would be pretty steady from that point on. Mentioned the 71 and the fact that Hankyung really wasn't that close to the top. But things changed, and things changed for the better. In this stretch, midway mark of the front 9. 5 and 8 in that span, 2 birdies found. And then Hung Min, who shot a 70 yesterday and wasn't necessarily right on the chasing path. But when she got into position, she absolutely made the most of them. This was the most impressive putt for my money of the day. So much break, a crescent-shaped path for her third of the second round. And then more from Park Yang-young. Her tee shot from the fairway will skip in and rolls through on the green to about 5 feet at the absolute most. She would tap in from there and go within 1. Of course, we would see what would happen from that point onwards. Excuse me, she would go within 2. This is 17 to set up that dramatic 18th hole. Her brilliant approach for a tap in she could make with her eyes closed. I'm sure she kept them open, but she did make it. We move into a 3-way tie for second, and then at 18 with a little bit of a delay due to Hung Min's foray into the trees. But not enough to bother either Park Ji-young or Park Yang-young. For the former, 4 under the score after 36 holes, and we just saw this birdie moments ago. And it was back-to-back in 3 in the last 4 holes to wrap up round number 2. And it is now where we have to bid you farewell for the day. Another fantastic bit of golf on display for us at Fortune Hills Country Club, with the second round coming to a close. As we leave you now, Yunina, Park Yang-young, and An Song-yi in a 3-way tie for the top. There is a 1.4 billion won purse to be split amongst the 132 players in the field. We will slash that number just about in half. The projected cut remains at +2 with the final few groups to come in and see if that will change any. But at the moment, we seem fairly confident in the fact that we'll be around 66 when we come back on the air tomorrow. Please note that it will be the same time at 2 p.m. local start in Pocheon-si, and we can't wait to have you back. It will be half the fields and an exciting moving day Saturday. The weather should be interesting, we can put it that way, with some rain in the forecast, but alas, that's all for tomorrow to try and dissect. For all of us at SBS Golf, I've been Adam Jenkins. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow back here at the the BC Kart Hankyung Ladies Cup 2024, a 10th anniversary tournament on the KLPGA Tour.